Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Lil Dudes Insect Academy podcast. Wait, before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you for tuning into this episode of the Lil Dudes Insect Academy podcast and just ask you to please hit the like button below or click the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube or follow this podcast if you are listening. That really helps the show out. But also, if you want to help us further, then join our Patreon. We have an awesome community that is growing there. Or if you want to make a one-time donation, we are a nonprofit foundation, so head to our website. Both the Patreon and the website will be linked down below. But without further ado, back to the episode. My name is Bradon Coy, and I'm your host, and I'm super excited to be here with Teresa. We met a couple months ago at the ESA conference this year in Phoenix, and she was telling me a little bit about her work and some of the other things she's been doing. So I am super excited to have Teresa on the show. She's a grad student at the University of Saskatchewan, and she's studying a pest in Faba bean, and I'm super excited to talk all about that. And she's also an author of a children's book, a science communication children's book, so I'm super excited to talk all about those things. Welcome to the show, Teresa. Go ahead and say hello to the people.
Thank you very much. So, hello everyone. My name is Teresa. I'm originally from Mexico and currently I'm living in Canada, where I am finishing my master at the University of Saskatchewan, how you already mentioned. Um, Although my research is like a big part of my life, I'm equally passionate about science outreach. So I love being like the bridge between science and the people who aren't like in the scientific world. So yeah, through presentations, educational materials, or stories, I have like yeah, I write for kids about insects and ecosystems. And yeah, I find immense joy in sharing what I have learned.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're gonna jump into all of that in a minute, but I was just thinking, I'm in Florida and you're in Saskatchewan, which is a very different climate. And
Yeah.
it's really funny because this morning we have a half day because it is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just
Oh,
barely
wow.
freezing. What temperature is it there?
Right now, let me check. We are minus 12, but
Celsius?
feels like minus 18. But it was like very good right now because last week we was like in minus 40 something. So
Oh,
yeah,
and
it
that's
was
and that's
hard.
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius. Celsius.
Celsius. Oh my gosh. So that's
Yeah.
wow, yeah, 12 degrees below freezing. That's insane. So yeah, Florida, we're losing everyone here. I'm from the north. I'm from Washington State originally. So I'm like 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just barely freezing. That's no big deal. And then everyone here is local Floridian and
Yeah.
they're losing their minds. Like you'd think the world is ending. And so we had a half day because not because it's snowing. It's not snowing.
It's
But
just
just
like cool.
because it's cold and I'm like so
No, and
yeah,
actually,
it's crazy.
yeah, and here all the activities continue. Like the kids still going to school, so everything is like, yeah, still.
That's crazy. Yeah, I just thought it was really funny because um, where I'm from in Washington State, we only really cancel school if there's like heavy snowfall, right? Because even up there, we're not super used to it. But here, it was just too cold, and we have a half day. It's insane. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, very very different climates, Florida to Saskatchewan. So
Yeah.
you're in your grad school. Tell us a little bit about like what you're working on right now with Pest and Faba Bean.
Okay, so my research is focused on understand the behavior of this insect. So the insect is Lygus insect. The common name is like the tarnished plant bug, and yeah, just like to trying to understand its behavior in faba beans to develop better management tools. So I'm making like different experiments, and as well I'm running different surveys across the province to know the presence or the absence of this insect and how um, like environmental conditions affect the presence or the absence of the species that we have here, that we have like four different species in Saskatchewan of these lygus.
Yeah, and Is fava bean like a big crop in Saskatchewan or in Canada, or is it
No,
kind of a
it's not
different
like,
crop?
yeah, it's not like a big, like, I mean, it's an important crop because it's used in cropping rotation. And as well, it's important in soil fertility because the nitrogen fixation, but not as big as canola, for example. So actually, it's kind of new in the province, like the faba bean production.
Hmm. Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about this pest. I'm kind of unfamiliar, so sort of tell us about a little bit about that pest. I'm not really familiar.
Sure. So, Lygus insects are from the family Muridae. So they have piercings in most parts, and they have different life stages, starting like from an egg inserted in the plant tissue, followed by five different instars, and then the adult stage. So at adult stage, Lygus have wings, so they can fly between crops, and that's one of the like the adult stage where they have wings, and the piercing sucking mouth parts are like the kind of issues to manage them because sometimes, I mean, faba bean it's a late crop, so when canola that it's an early crop it's
Hmm.
harvested, all the ligas are in adult stage, so they can fly to faba bean that it's a late crop, and when they fly into faba bean, faba bean it's flowering at flowering stage, so we can apply pesticide because faba bean needs pollination. So that's the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so this this bug is a true bug, right? So they like pierce the tissue of the plant.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they
Okay. Yeah.
penetrate the tissue, and the problem is when they are feeding into the podding, into the pods, because they not penetrate just the pod, they penetrate as well the seeds. So they
Mm.
produce like a hole in the seed, so the yield is affected. So
Mm.
that's the problem. That's why we are wondering to understand more about its behavior, to trying to, yeah, have tools to control and manage this pest.
Yeah, and are these bugs like invasive, or are they just sort of don't really have any competition, or why are they so why have they become such an issue?
Um, because basically because of the piercing socket. Well, and actually they feed like multiple crops, so not just faba
Mm.
bean. So that's why they are in canola, they are in peas, they are in
Oh, okay.
alfalfa. So that's why yeah, they are an issue because they eat like multiple crops. They have piercing soaking mouth parts. They have wings at adult stage. So basically, they can go everywhere and eat whatever they want.
Mm.
And that's the problem.
I see. Yeah. So, what are some of the like interesting things you're discovering with this behavior research? And like, I'm kind of curious, how do you actually do it? Like, do you go out into fields, or do you rear them in a lab? Or behavior behavior research seems kind of difficult to me because it's hard to replicate and like measure very well. So I'm kind of curious about that process.
Yeah, so during summer, we collect some insects to grow our own colonies. So basically, we have like at the laboratory, a Prager laboratory in at the University of Saskatchewan, we had all the facilities to grow the colonies in in control environmental conditions.
Hmm.
So basically, we take some lygus or take some insects during summer or spring and then grow our own colonies. And um, with that, we can run experiments like all the year. So, yeah, so we have different experiments. Like, for example, the experiments that I did was no choice, choice BSA. So basically, in the no choice, I just give them a faba bean plant to and allow them to feed for a specific period of time.
Hmm.
So with that experiment, I realized how much or how long they need to be in the faba bin to produce this damage. And then I run a choice BSA. So basically, I give different choices to the insect between faba bean and alternative crops. wondering to understand which other crop can work as a trap crop, for example.
Mm.
And then there's another experiment that is like the electrical penetration graph. So this is like very, it's one of my favorite because it's like very curious how, um, yeah, the experiments can be. So basically, it's like a electrical closed circuit. So in one part, you have the plant connected, and in the
Hmm.
other part, you have the insect connected. So basically, when the insects start feeding, like all the electricity start running, and the um, I forgot the name now, but anyway, all the different behaviors of the insect, if it's walking, if it's feeding, if it's like just like tapping with antenations, if it's just like standing, all are converted into waveforms. So
Mm.
all the waveforms give you exactly how much time the insect walk, or how much time the insect was like doing like the cell rupture with its mouth part, or how much time the insect was like in the ingestion. So it is a very useful um, science behind all this technique, or all this experiment to understand, yeah, the feeding behavior with exact the time exact.
Wow. Wow, that's really I've never heard of that. What's it called again?
Electrical penetration graph technique, or
That's really
yeah,
cool.
it's now considered kind of a science because it's like, yeah, very useful. And yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So the insect that you put on the leaf or the tissue like completes the circuit. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, I had to sand, literally sand the pronotum of the insect just to paste like a gold wire that is like very slim to be able
Oh,
to connect the insect like to the complete closed circuit. Amplifier,
wow.
I remember the name. It was like it's they are attached to the amplifier, so the amplifier like, yeah, translate all the electricity into waveforms that goes to a computer. So that's how that
Wow.
works.
That is that's really cool. And yeah, I feel like that's useful for so many insect. I guess you would be limited on the size of the specimen. Like if you're doing it on like a little tiny aphid or something, I feel like that wouldn't work.
No, yeah.
Um,
They are like, we are running experiments like in the lab where I am. There are different experiments with aphids, and I know for different publications that are doing experiments with thrips and actually mosquitoes as well. So
wow.
yeah, it's fascinating.
So I mean, I know you're not studying mosquitoes, but that kind of caught my eye. So you could do the same thing with like a simulated like mammal tissue with mosquitoes then, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. So you've got this data. What are some of the interesting things that you've found? Like, well, first of all, what year are you in your grad school? Like, how far along are you in your research?
Well, actually, like at the beginning of next month, I'm defending my master. So
Wow.
I'm just like finishing the master.
That's awesome. Yeah. So what have you kind of found in that? Like, can you tell us at all about any of that stuff?
Sure. Well, so according to the no choice in environmental control conditions, um, I found that the Lygus produce the the thing is that Faba bean had, well, the Canadian Rate Commission downgraded Faba bean if the Faba bean had more than 1% of perforated damage. And I found that this insect produced that 1% in 3 hours at adult stage. So I have found that it's very difficult, if that's the case, to control or to manage this pest because it's just in 3 hours. So basically, yeah, with one lygus. So of course, it's need like, yeah, we need to run experiments like in the field because this is just like in a controlled environmental conditions, but we need to run experiments in the field just to know how is in the field based on the no choice experiments. But yeah, that was like one interesting part. Um, Another interesting thing is that the four different Lygus species that we have in the province are um, apparently they are affected in different ways from environmental conditions. So that is another thing that is very interesting. And with the no choice, um, with the choice, we saw that alfalfa could be a trap crop, but that is something that we already knew. I would
Mm,
like to try maybe in the future safflower, that it's another crop that could be attractive for Lygus. And for the EPG, we found that apparently the saliva um, that the nymphs had are like different than the adults because they don't
mm,
affect as much as the adult stage. So yeah, more research is needed into yeah to understand more about what is the difference between like the nymphs and the adults that produce like less damage even if they are feeding much more time than the adults.
mm.
So yeah, many things, but like in 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 a short story, that's like the important parts.
Oh, that's cool. And I was kind of curious. Where do you see this going? Like, do you see maybe going for the PhD or doing similar research or exploring those other crops you were talking about, or like where do you see this going for yourself?
Oh, like my future
Yeah.
in professional way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that one of my main plan is to start the PhD, because I want to continue deepening my knowledge through scientific research, specifically in topics related to entomology or maybe apply ecology. Those are like an important topics in my life. Um, and yeah, like that it's like in the research part. Yeah, for sure I want to go to the PhD.
Yeah, and are you thinking still Lygus, or are you like not? Are you not sure about?
Yeah, well, right now, well, actually, I already applied for the PhD, so I'm
Oh,
starting
okay.
it in May,
Nice.
and it will be Lygus with aphids and maybe grasshoppers. So that's now the new objective to now understand how we can control these three pests in lentils in this case.
Hmm. Oh, that's cool. And that's still at the University of Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um. Oh, that's exciting. So going for the PhD. I'm kind of curious. Where did you originally get? Like, where did you originally get into entomology? Like, what led you there? Like, have you always liked bugs, or are you more like biology first and then bugs, or like where did you decide that entomology was the thing?
Well, I have always been a very curious child, especially about like nature in general. But insects are very like common,
Mm,
so it was like easy to me like catch them in jars and observing them under a toy microscope when I was like a little girl. So at that time, to be honest, I hadn't had idea that this could be or this could become a real profession. I just like
mm-hmm.
make it for fun and curiosity.
Yeah.
So over the time, my love for biology, animals, plants keep me growing and decide to study biology at the University Autonomous Metropolitan University in Mexico City. So and actually my parents didn't initially support my decision because they thought that yeah, that wasn't like a real profession.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, despite that, I completed my degree, and after the degree, I decided to. Well, when I finished it, I was like very in love of biology and ecology. So there was an opportunity for me to start a master in marine ecology. So I started that in UNAM, University National Autonomous well, UNAM. Right now it's like difficult to translate.
In Mexico City.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, in Mexico. That was like near Cancun in Puerto Morelos,
Oh, okay.
in
Yeah.
Mexico as well. Um, so I started that master in marine ecology, working with coral reefs. But because I didn't get a grant, I had to, yeah, finish the program. So then, during that first year of master, I realized that agronomy was one of the big problems of ecology. So that's
Mm,
why I decided to start a master in agriculture, or something related to agriculture. And that's how I arrived with Dr. Schompeger at the University of Saskatchewan, that he works with insect pests that have like a big background in ecology. um, and that's how I went back to the insect. And actually, when I entered the lab to like for the first time, and I
mm,
saw insect jars everywhere, my inner child feels so thrilled and so happy.
mm-hmm.
Just
Yep.
like, yeah, taking me back to those childhood moments. And yeah, that's how.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's something I'm really passionate about because you're right. Like a lot of young people, young students in high school especially, don't even know that there is a ton of opportunity in bugs, right? There are so many careers that you can have in entomology, and a lot of people don't even realize that. So that's kind of why I do this podcast, is to highlight careers in entomology, and you can do all kinds of things, and you can do very well for yourself in working with bugs. So that's really cool to hear, and that you eventually realize like, oh yeah, I can do this as a job. So
Yeah.
that's really really cool, and I love to hear that. So looking like 5 or 10 years in the future, like after graduation, what do you see yourself doing? In the far future.
Thinking like more in the future, I'm sure that I will include many more science, more research, more insect
Mm-hmm.
ecology, and many more science outreach projects, because I'm passionate about being like the bridge between, yeah, the science world and the general public. Um, so yeah, I don't know for sure. I mean, I'm just near to start the PhD that are like 4 years or more than that. I I don't know right now, but I'm sure that I want to stay like in science, communication, in research, in the insect world.
Okay, yeah. So science communication. Let's talk a little bit about that. You wrote a children's book. Um,
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience and a little bit about what your book is.
A very important part of, well, I have been involved in science outreach like long time ago. And a very important part of the science outreach project is like exactly that connection with my inner child. So that excitement like makes me feel like just another child, telling my friends about that, like something new that I have learned about insects or ecosystems. So it's that spark of curiosity that inspires me, um, to create stories and can share with children and adults. And like, for example, of all of my family, no one is related to biology or ecology or any nature things. So
Mm-hmm.
to try to explain what I'm learning, I need to tell stories to my grandma, to my parents, to my sister, to my kids. So always I'm creating stories in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So I had one teacher that her name is Clementina Ikiwa. She teach me a storytelling kind of workshop at the university in back in Mexico, and she inspired me a lot to yeah just like start writing all that stories. So long time ago I started writing the stories, but I haven't had like I don't know if it's the opportunity or just like the decision to okay, let's start publishing this. So last year, I started a project named Box Teaching Humans with my friend Carolina, that she's in Mexico. She's from Argentina, but is living in Mexico. And she's like the illustrator. So together we are creating stories for kids about insect or environment, and combining education and her creativity, because like she's like very artistic. So yeah, I mean, I feel so lucky to work on projects that align my love for biology and storytelling. So Box Teaching Humans is that. And yeah, we finished and published our first book that it's in three different languages, in Spanish, in English, and in French. So in English, its name is Finding Sacbe. In Spanish, it's En busca de sac B, and in French is À la recherche de sac B. So basically, this story it's about how um, honeybees arrive to the American continent and how native bees feel that um, um, I forgot the word. Well, yeah, feel displaced by their own flowers and
Mm.
yeah, that story. So this is like I have here the book. So this is the book. This is the Spanish version. At home,
Hmm.
I just have the Spanish and the French one. I already give my English version. Um, so yeah, that is our first book. We are well, Carolina is working in the second one, like in the illustrations of the second one. And yeah, I'll finish I have finished writing five stories for now. I'm just like,
Wow.
yeah, sure.
Oh, that's so cool. I love the concept, and obviously I'm very passionate about that mission as well. And I also love that it's in three different languages. I mean that's really cool. That really makes it way more accessible to way more people. Um,
Yeah,
and that's really cool. So, you know, book publishing versus research are two very different things. What are some things that have kind of that have kind of surprised you through the process of creating this book and releasing it and publishing and all those things? Like, have you been surprised by any new aspects of that?
um which kind of aspect? Well, like for example, all the edition, I made all the edition for the book. So it was like a very big challenge because I'm not like a computer person. I mean,
Mm.
of course, I know how to write in a computer and like all that things, but like work with Photoshop or editing a book or everything was like a very big challenge, but it was
Oh
like
yeah.
very interesting. And as well, like um Caro, my friend, teach me like how the colors are important. And for example, when all the things was like in a critical part of the story, she put like kind of yellow, red colors. And then
Mm.
when the problem was solving, she add like the blue, the green. So that was like very nice for me to learn.
Yeah, that's really cool. And like the way that you tell a story is really important, right? Um,
Exactly.
so that's really cool to hear, and um, it's just really cool that you are doing research and then also writing children's books. I mean, those are very different things, and then you're
Yes.
also taking aspects from science and um, molding them into a way that um, a different audience can understand, which is really the whole point of science communication. So it's really cool. And I'm just a little curious. Can you tell us a little bit about like can you tell us a little bit of your next book, or is that like a secret or anything?
No, I mean the copyright is ready, so yeah. Um, so the next book is the Insect Olympics. So a kind of a spoiler. Um, it's a story about a girl that when she was like sleeping, she and she when she wake up, she well, how is that? She was a girl that she was playing with a smaller ladybug, and when she wake up, the ladybug was like her size. Well, actually, she was at the size of the ladybug, and basically
Mm,
the ladybug invite her to go into the insect Olympics, and they went into the jumping race, and in that part we show the public how different but how specialized are the legs of each insect. So we have the jumping race and then the swimming race, and then like we are showing how the leg parts are very specialized for
mm.
different things. So that's the insect Olympic um, book.
Oh, that's so clever. Oh, that's really cool. Well, that's
Thank you.
super fun. And I mean, I've looked at your book, and it's like some of the illustrations are, it's a gorgeous book. So
Thank
I'm
you.
super excited about all those things you're working on. I'm just like I'm a little curious. Um, where can you see this going? Like, down the road, like, do you want to do this forever? Like, are you excited about making like a whole series, or are you, I don't know, is it like a temporary thing, or do you want to do this forever?
Well, I don't think that it's a temporary thing because I have been writing like for a long time since I was in the university.
Hmm.
So yeah, I can't imagine myself without writing stories. And I think that it's a very valuable tool, not just for the kids, but like for because our book not just have the story, it also has activities for teachers and activities for parents and for kids as well. So this is like a great tool, not just for kids, but also like for teachers and parents to learn together. Because, for example, I have kids, and one of my kids love rocks, so he
Mm,
had kids books about rocks, and it's like amazing for me to learn more about rocks or dinosaurs or whatever.
mm-hmm.
So a kid book or outreach with kids, not just like teach kids but also teach like the parents or the grandparents or the adults related to the kid. So no, I don't think that it's like something that I want to stop. It's in the opposite way. It's something that I want to go deeper, and we are doing some how would I say activities extra of the books, and we are also trying to work on a comic to
Mm.
a different audience, maybe like teenagers. So, yeah, we are just trying to know how our times because she's like busy as well. So, we are trying to manage our times to make this project stronger. But no, we saw the project like in a future as well.
Oh man, that's super exciting. And I mean, again, I just love the intersection between children education and um writing a children's book, like education but also entertainment as well. It's really important, and I think it's also really important because you are, an entomology student, and so you understand all the important facts. And I think I see a lot of children's resources, especially in entomology, that are just not correct. Right? I see children's books in the library all the time, and there's just you know untrue facts in the books, and I'm like, what is happening here? Like, especially in insects. I'll open up a book and there will be something that's just wrong. Um, Yeah, so I just think that's really important because it's important that these kids get true facts, and especially online. Like there are a lot of there's a lot of misinformation online too. So I think it's just really
Exactly.
important that these things are, high quality, fact checked, peer reviewed, and then also just entertaining in that the kids will still like it, right? So yeah,
Exactly.
it's really cool.
Yeah, there's actually like another part. Of course, we have like our references part in the book, but we also have a part of where could I know more about bees? And we
Mm,
put like different pictures of different associations or organizations that work with bees. So, yeah, I'm trying to give like valuable information, but like for the public in general. So, yeah, maybe if you want to have a hive of bees at home, where you can get it or something like that. Yeah, to make it not just like a kid story, but like more than that.
mm. Yeah, and I mean, kids could read this, or their parents could read it to them, and it's just the beginning of maybe they
Exactly.
want to keep bees now when they're older, or that your book is just a beginning to this new passion, and I could see that totally happening. I mean, I know a lot of people who are in entomology or in science today, and they started because they were a little kid and they read a book they really liked, or they saw a really cool nature documentary. So it's that kind of stuff that can just inspire the next generation to, even be interested. And this piece of media that you're making could just be the beginning of a lifelong passion. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was sort of curious, like what are some other things like on a personal level that you enjoy like in your spare time, like hobbies or other things that you do to like relax and get away from school and all that stuff.
Mm, well, I really enjoy to be with my kids, like with my family. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, in here it's like very common to go camping, so you have different places that are very comfortable to go and just like stay relaxed. So that is one activity that I really enjoy, and I'm just waiting for summer to go camping again. um, but now during winter I start like painting. So I enjoy painting. In winter there's no, well, there's camping, but not,
Yeah.
I don't think that that's for me camping right now,
Mm-hmm.
at Saskatchewan winter. So yeah, I'm just like painting or swimming, um, indoor, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are like the activities that I enjoy. Eat, I enjoy a lot, like taste different foods from different parts of the world. So that's something that I enjoy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stay with the people that I love, like my friends, my husband, my kids.
That's awesome. I'm a big fan of food and cooking and all that. I was just kind of curious, like, what's one of your favorite cuisines to try?
Mm. I don't want to be egocentric, but Mexican food, it's like my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
more than like a part of the Mexican food, I enjoy a lot Japanese food.
Mm.
Um, um, which other? Like all the bakery from France. I also
Oh, yeah.
found it very tasty. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mexican food as well. A really good, if you find a really good spot that's local or um, an authentic Mexican meal is like really, really
Mm.
good.
Yes.
It's really, really fun. Um, yeah, so what where can everybody go to learn more about you and your book, and like you have social media. I'll obviously link all of that below in the description for you guys. But tell us a little bit about like what you share online and what people can expect.
Sure. So, in my social media, I think that the one that use more is Instagram. That it's
Hmm.
um Teresa, Teresa, Aguiar. So basically, it's my name with my last name.
Hmm.
In X, before Twitter, it's Teresa Aguiar C. And the box teaching humans social media. We are in Instagram as insects through art. Well, insects. Um, I don't know how to say, like, it's not a slash. I'm not sure the name of the line that divide the
Oh, like a
text.
dash.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So it's insects dash through dash art, and our Facebook is Box Teaching Humans.
Awesome. Yeah, and again, for you guys listening at home, I will leave the links for both Teresa's social media and Bugs Teaching Humans in there as well, so you guys can check that out. And then also, your book is available online,
In
right?
Amazon. Yeah,
Amazon.
it's
Okay.
available in Amazon, so you can search for it according with the title. So as I already mentioned, in English
Hmm.
is Finding Sakbe. Sakbe, it's like Sakbe. So that it's in English. In Spanish is En busca de Sakbe, and in French, à la recherche de Sakbe.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll leave the Amazon link for that as well
Thank you.
in the description for you guys to check out. I would highly encourage you guys to go check her book out and support a researcher and what she's doing. So thank you, Teresa, so much for being on the show. This was super fun. Do you have any last things you want to say or things that you want to mention before we sign off?
No, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your podcast. It's like an honor to connect with your audience and be part of such as in an inspiration platform because, as I already mentioned, I love those kind of bridges. So I think that your project is like a real bridge between science and the public in general. It's like very nice to know that like podcasts like yours exist because as you mentioned, you can inspire future entomologists or future scientific persons. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. And you as well. Like what you're doing, I think really works well with what I'm doing. And it's just a different medium, right? So I think, physical book publishing is super important as well as online stuff like podcasting. So I love that um, bugs are making their way into all these different mediums. It's just a really exciting time, and guys, definitely follow along with Teresa and her future books as well. Super exciting stuff coming to you guys. But Teresa, thank you so much for taking the time and for being on the show. You guys definitely should follow along, and yeah, thanks again. This was super fun to get to know you.
Yeah, thank you as well. Thank you very much.